Oh God, what an episode! What an episode of the Owl House, ladies and gents. I was late to get into this one. I was late. I normally watch them the night they come out, but a lot of things this week, and season finale's happening this Saturday. It's gonna be a good time. I'll be on time for that one. But what were we talking about today? Gear Talk. That's right, Gear Talk. Oh God, the one reason I'm ever in front of this setup. Welcome to another Thursday. It is a Gear Talk, 5 o'clock. Today we are talking about an overview of pretty much the entire Gears 5 Hivebusters DLC. We've covered everything. Like, aside from one character, which I'm not going to spoil it. I won't. I'm going to hold it back until the next Gear Talk. I don't know if we're going to have to wait and I'm going to have to skip the next one to get to it, how long it's going to take to edit. I don't know. But we're going to get to that one when we get to it. Right now, the overview of the Gears 5 Hivebusters DLC. Talking about all of it. This is really going to be more of a tangent. It's not going to be a well-structured video of here's everything you need to know. Honestly, when I did the notes for it, the only thing I really took the time to write down was the time frame between the last time we got a DLC from the Gears franchise until now. Like a DLC that was story-based. And I'll tell you right now, I won't spoil it. I'll say it right now. I won't spoil. I'll tell you. The last time we did was the Gears of War 3 ROM Shadow DLC, which came out over 10 years ago, was the last time we had a story DLC. Skip forward to now, and we have the Hivebusters DLC. A lot of stuff has happened in between 3 and 5. A lot of things. We've had Judgment, we have had 4, we have also the mini break between Judgment and 4 when things were shifting hands. We had, technically, I think Tactics might have come out before the DLC. I'm not sure, but it might have. And that also did not have story DLC. So we went that long without getting more story added on to the main games. Like, that's how long we waited. Like, setting you up before we get to the DLC. Understand, as a Gears fan, we wait. We're used to waiting. Waiting is our bread and butter. That's what we're good at. Yeah, we've got the books right now, but we don't have the comics coming out anymore, aside from some side ones like Rise of Rom. We had that one. The Hivebusters comic came out, but that was a lead-in to 5. I don't believe we're going to get anything for 6. I have not heard a single thing, and nothing's been mentioned. The books are coming out. The newest one is dropped as of, I think 6 months ago. I finally got that one. But understand, we wait. We get everything we can, but we wait. So we finally get to 5. At this point, we don't know story DLC's coming. They have not said anything. We get to 5 after getting the Hivebusters comic series that leads into what we're dealing with. We play the game, and I will be honest with you, as a Gears fan, as a veteran player, it did not live up to expectations. The new mode they introduced, Escape, it was lackluster. I still enjoyed it. I love Escape, but it was lackluster. Horde had its own situation and problems. I still thought Horde was kind of okay. I think they made it a little more complex than it needed to be. Then you have the story, I don't even want to touch that one right now because we're here for the DLC. And then you also get over to the market, which in my mind is what really killed a lot of Gears 5. So you have all of this. And what people are asking for is, hey, we introduced these 3 new characters, and it seems like they all have these stories or like something connected to them, a background, and there's nothing fleshed out for them, nothing at all except for the comic series that came out for the Hivebusters. A lot of people started voicing their want for more information, and the Coalition answered with, hey, we're going to create a DLC because the fans have been asking for it, so we're going to make a DLC and release it because there's such a high demand. Now, that is what was openly stated. I don't know the truth about it. It could be they already had it planned. It could be, no, that's really what was happening. Or they were doing a last-ditch effort to kind of save 5 at this point. Because 5, compared to a lot of things, did not do the greatest. Now, it finally gets released, and this is where we'll actually get into everything. Your backstory's been taken care of. It releases, and oh my god, I remember first playing it. I remember first getting into the game. I chose Mac for my first playthrough. I don't know what everyone else did, but I did Mac. I think a lot of people did Keegan because he's the default, but I did Mac. The amount, and this is all one act, like just a few hours you beat it, but the amount of character growth, development, story told, background, a background for the escape mode with the Hivebusters, all of it is so perfectly done. There are some issues, like it is very short. It feels like in the last few chapters, a lot of things were a little sped up, but it's one act. It's a DLC. I can forgive that. But oh my goodness. You sit there and you're playing this, the visuals are possibly the best in the entire series, even better than 5. And that's saying something, because they put a lot of stock into 5. They put their chips down on 5. And yeah, granted this is in 5, but you can tell they went above and beyond in this DLC. There was a lot of work put into this. And if it is what they say is true with, like, you know, it was because the fans demanded, like, it was a passion project. This was perfect. The writing for the characters was so good. Like I said, it felt sped up at the end, but the writing was still consistent with how it sped up. It was so well done, so crafted. The explanation for what's going on, where you are, why the Swarm are there, why the Wakatu's involved, all perfectly done. You have characters that are introduced from the comics that are good. Like, you have Tak, and you also have Hana. They're both introduced perfectly. Hoffman makes his reappearance. It's so good. I can't stress it enough to you. I know this is an overview and it's more of a fan-gushing tangent, but understand. This DLC, like, I'm making a tier list right now, and someday I'll release it and I'll make one for a Gear Talk. I'll just do a tier list. This DLC blows a lot of the actual games out of the water. Like, if I remember right, it beats Judgment. I need to remember my tier list. Beats Judgment. It honestly does beat 5. It honestly does blow it out of the water. I don't think I put it higher than Tactics, but it beats Rom Shadow, that DLC, easily. Oh my goodness. But it's so well crafted. I played through. I don't remember ever coming across a bug at all. I know it was very well done. I know they put a lot of work into it. Q&A must have been up their ass working on it. I did not come across one. I've heard others did, but I didn't deal with anything. What else? The characters and their backgrounds, I already said that's good. It's just that feeling of relief. Like, again, I am someone who I never jumped on the bandwagon. I wasn't someone who is a pro player or just played this for fun, but I'm really in the pro scene. I'm not any of that. I've been playing since Gears 2. Now, I'm not an OG all the way to the first one. I'm from 2 onwards. And I did play the original. I know about that. I did all of that. And understand, coming from someone who has been around in this franchise, this is something special. This is something that actually came out and worked very well. I can't think of, like, if I had to think, like, the third and second one are the other ones that gave me this kind of feeling. Because the second one was just so well crafted with how the story was done, and 3 wrapped everything up very well. Like, story-wise and writing, 3 was probably the best, but, oh my god, Hivebusters does pretty good work. They leave it open comic-wise and in the game for more to come from them. So Gear 6, I'm hoping that they don't mess this up. The thing you need to understand with Hivebusters and 5. 5 was written, I can't even think of the right word. Very, not lazily. Like, it was written well. Like, 4 going into it was okay. 5 was really them writing themselves into a wall. The situation is they can continue onwards with how they've currently written it. They can't really branch out. And they tried to change that with how the ending of 5 goes. It's been out for a while, I'll say it, with the multiple choice who's going to live, who's going to die. But it doesn't really change how they've decided to move forward with it. And there's a lot of things that don't really work with their writing style in 5. For instance, Kate Diaz. She's very broken. Not as, like, a player or, like, her story-wise, but she is very much like a Mary Sue, you could say, in a certain regard. But mostly it's focusing on her and her story when there's a lot of other things going on and there's characters that really should have focus placed on them. The writers felt like Kate was the one that was the main center of attention. Even the original games, like, 3 is a great example. Like, you have Marcus, and you have Dom, and they're doing their own thing on the ship, they're defending it, but you also have Baird and Cole going out, and they are doing things. You follow them for a while. In 2, you have, you're following along with Marcus, but, like, this isn't Marcus, like, we gotta go defeat the Locust, we're the ones who need to do this. No, he's a soldier on a mission. Yeah, he's a very high decorated soldier, but he's a soldier on a mission. This is what he's doing. Kate, it really does feel like, I'm the one who needs to go and do this. It's about me. That's not the point of this. This is a war affecting the world, not one singular person. That's what you need to understand. And that's what Hivebusters, it's fresh. You're not following that. You're not stuck in that one tunnel vision kind of writing. Because it is a group of these 3, and their mission is to go out and take out the hives. And this is their them coming together and learning about each other part of the story. The comics is more like continuing after that. So you don't really have that tunnel vision of writing when it comes to Hivebusters because it's very open. You can do whatever you want with it. And with how they wrote the story, it can still do that. There's still many things you can do. Now, the comics kind of focus on certain angles for each character and what their drives are. And they have that too in the DLC, but it's not as prevalent as the comic. At the end of Gears of War 2, you don't have that sensation. You have, okay, we've done all of this, Jacinto is now flooded, what do we do from here? There's open options. And it implies that for 5, but you're still very much aware we're going to be following Kate and doing what she wants to do. There is no idea of there's more to branch out and we can explore here. There's more in-world to go. No, there's a singular focus and it's very heavily revolved around Kate. You don't get that from the other games. You do not get that from Hivebusters, and it's so refreshing. Because with the current direction of the entire franchise, it is very apparent they are changing many directions and ideals that the original series had in mind. For instance, like it was supposed to end after 3, but we saw what happened after that. Coalition bought and we have more. Which is fine, I love Gears. But the DLC, I don't know how to say it without being a broken record. It's just a refreshing feeling of, yeah, the Coalition has it, but they're doing something right. It gave me that same feeling as with 4. When they originally did 4, I was like, okay, there's more of the world and more directions this is going to go in at the end. You don't get that with 5. 3, there's a reason you don't get it with 3. 3 is literally the end. Like, this is the conclusion. There is no more. You have finished. That's what you get from 3. So 3 is like the only other exception. But like 1, 2, and 4, like, there's more. You don't get that. Hivebusters, there's more. And that's great. And talking about Hivebusters, like getting off that tangent, going on to another, the world is so well done. When you walk through in the game, it truly feels like a jungle. It doesn't feel like this is a video game jungle level. It feels like you're in the wilderness. Everything feels realistic how it would be on planet Sarah. When you come across, like, the giant skulls and everything, and it might only be multiplayer, but I remember seeing something in the campaign too. Like, you think, like, you know, this was a deadly creature here, not just like, oh, this is an artistic choice for this level of the game. Everything is so fleshed out so well. The environment is well done. The part of the game where you look out amongst the entire island and there's the one tree where the Wakatu's nest is, it is I did it. Like, everyone's done it, but I definitely did it. I stopped there and I looked at the entire scenery like I was looking out like a picturesque like window looking out into the wilds of like the Amazon rainforest. I stopped and looked. I put my controller down and I just stared. It was that well. You can have amazing visuals and still have a good game. Like 5 had some good visuals, but there was so much in the game they didn't have it as peak as Hivebusters done. Again, Hivebusters is one act. So they can put a lot more work into that and have something beautiful come out. Not saying 5 didn't look beautiful, but, and I've said this when I did the Judgment playthrough, when I was in Gears of War Judgment and I see the tree on fire in the very beginning, to me that is like a beautiful spectacle. The fire is done so well. Like, I believe visually that was, honestly, with some of the visual aspects they took from Judgment, rivals a lot of things from 5. And we all know Judgment is not the greatest of the Gears games. But oh my goodness. Like, again, like a tangent video. That's all this is. And I keep saying that, but I need to remind myself, I don't have a script to go off of. I don't have notes. This is just me, like, reminiscing about everything. Because this is it. Aside from the last video, this is the very final video for the Hivebuster discussion series. And man, it was a ride. Like, there was a time I took a break for a while, but I'm back. Oh gosh. I think that'll do it for this one. Like, this is my little gushing before the very last one, and we move on from there. It's been a good ride. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you guys for making this possible, and thank the patrons for making this possible. I will see you guys in the next episode of Gear Talks, which will either be regularly scheduled for 2 weeks from now, or it'll be 1 month from now, depending how much time I have to edit. That's gonna take me a while. But thank you guys again. I will see you guys in the next video. Later! It's Hoffman, by the way. The last video is going to be about Hoffman. Most of you guessed it, but the very last person that I have not talked about is Hoffman. He will be in the final video.